Hiranna kalja potokurshi himoto. Hirannaya tokurshani kimaya tokalya tata. Mohotaya vishitanya kalya potahashaka. Hiropomati haryamukoti. Ishtayam upala karanda krusha hyarata. Kashatom. I am here. Wonderment, joy, peace, truth, love, understanding. Where are we going in this place of truth, peace, joy? We're here, right? We're in this moment. We're accepting ourselves as divine. We're knowing ourselves as true. We're giving ourselves this chance to be free in this life that we've created on this earth plane at this time. We're giving ourselves a chance to know ourselves as divine in all things. We're giving ourselves a chance to know ourselves as the true ones that we came here to be. So where are we going on this earth plane as we accept ourselves as divine, as we know ourselves as true, as we see that the divinity within us is accepting us as the divine reality of our own truth? Where do we see ourselves going? Are we going anywhere? Have we seen anything that says, come to me? Have we seen anything that is expecting us to present ourselves in a certain way in the world? Have we seen anything that says, it's time to open up, it's time to reveal, it's time to become? Have we seen anything that is allowing us to let ourselves be free in this environment around us? So when we're waiting for the energy to appear and we're waiting for the energy to come to us, what is the stance that we're taking in that energetic field? I'm waiting here for my life to unfold. I'm waiting here for my life to become. I'm waiting here for my life to unveil the mystery of divinity within all things. I am waiting here for my life to become the life that I have wanted it to become. I am waiting here for my life to unfold the mystery of divine understanding in all things. I have come here because my life is divine in all things. I accept myself as a reality of peaceful change. This is what I'm doing. I accept myself as a reality of peaceful change. So in that reality, in that truth, in that understanding, we accept that we are one with all things because all things have become divine in this place of truth, in this place of our divine reality. Is there an opening that's occurring as we're looking within ourselves for the depth of our true being? Is there an opening that's occurring as we are accepting ourselves as the ones that came here to be the truth of all things? Is there an opening that's occurring as we're allowing ourselves to step forward into the world, accessing all things that are consciousness and grace? Is there an opening that's happening? Is there an opening that we're seeing within us? Is there an opening that's revealing itself to us? Is there an opening? Is there a change? Is there something that's saying, right? Is the acceptance of the divine part of me that wants to be seen in the world in the way that I will be seen. Is that divine part of me that knows the truth within my own being and accepts that truth within my own being and then reveals that truth to the world around me. Is the acceptance of the divine truth within my own being. Will allow me to become the truth of my own being within the things I see around me. Where am I going? What am I doing? How am I becoming? Am I safe? Is it safe to go out into the world and become who you came here to be? Is it safe to become the one that you are already? Is it safe to become the one that you've accepted yourself to be in this world of divinity and peace? Are we allowing ourselves to accept that divine understanding? Are we allowing ourselves to accept that full consciousness of grace within our being? Are we allowing ourselves to walk into the world in a certain way that feels good? right? It feels good. It feels good to walk into the world in a certain way. We're walking, but what are we doing as we're walking? We're consciously dividing. What are we dividing? We're dividing out the stuff that has left us or gone from us and no longer serves us. We're dividing the stuff that is no longer in our conscious awareness, right? We can walk into the world as a divine being of consciousness and light. We can walk into the world as the truth that we are. We can walk into the world as the ones that we've seen, graciously conceiving of God's light within our own beings. We can walk into the world as the ones that we need to be now in this conscious reality, in this conscious understanding, in this conscious truth of who we are. Why do we walk into the world in this way? Why do we walk into the world when we're accepted into the divinity of all things? Why do we walk into the world when we know that we are the consciousness of all things? Why do we walk into the world when we've accepted ourselves as divine consciousness and truth? The walking now is a stance of grace in the world, in our reality, in consciousness, right? The walking now is the things that we are doing. It is the things that we are doing. It is the things that we want to do. It is the things that we are being told to do by our highest self, by our divine self, by our true self. We are walking into the world, and now we're doing, right? Now we're going, now we're accepting, now we're feeling, now we're finding, now we're experiencing. This is the world that we want to be a part of, isn't it? This is the world that we want to experience. This is the world that we want to see. This is the world that's generating so much truth within our own being. This is the world that's lightening up to us in all things. This is the world that's gracefully, kindly, lovingly accepting us into its truth, right? This is the world that we want to see. This is the world that we know is our own divinity. This is the world that we know is our own truth. This is the world that we know is our own making. So within our own being, we become truth. Within our own being, we become consciousness. Within our own being, we become grace. And then we step out in to see what is happening around us in the consciousness of this reality. Is there something to see? Is there something to do? Is there something to be? Is there something to experience? Is there something to feel within my own being? Do I have a conscious connection with another being in this world? Do I have a conscious connection with another seeing? Do I have a conscious connection with another being that wants to see me as I want to see them in this divine reality of truth, peace, love, and divinity? Do I have a conscious connection with somebody else who has seen me as the light of divinity? Do I have a conscious connection with someone else who knows me as the light of all things? Do I have a conscious connection with someone else who has expected me to be great in this reality of divine consciousness and grace? I am presenting myself to the world in a way that makes me see that I am divine. I am presenting myself to the world in a way that makes me see everything and everyone as my own truth of my own being. I am presenting myself to the world in a way that I've seen the truth of all things. And now I know. Now I know when I step out into the world that my grace is the truth that I am presenting, that my grace is the truth that I'm giving, and that my grace is the truth that I am opening up when I receive the acceptance of grace from other things and other beings, right? The energy of grace is coming towards me from the outer energy that I've received in coalescence with everything. I am in coalescence with everything. I now feel the energy of God's grace pulsating through me. I now feel the energy of God's grace feeding me with divine energy. I now feel the energy of God's grace giving me everything, because everything is me. Everything is me, and the consciousness of all things flows through me, right? So where are we going within this consciousness of grace? Is there anywhere to go? Is there anything to see? Is there anything to experience? Is there anyone to meet? Do we have a divine union that's coming to us at this time? Is it important? Do we have a divine union that's coming to us at this time? Do we know it already? Do we have a divine union that's coming to us at this time that we've seen already in grace and consciousness and peace and love, and we're opening up to it within the grace within our own being? And this divine union is now allowed to be accepted, divinely given, and opening up to the grace within our own beings. This is our divine union of truth within our own beings, accepting it now into the reality of the grace within the consciousness of all things that we see. Divine union coming to us now in our own divinity, in our own peace, and our own truth. We are awakening to this aspect of ourselves that knows the peace in all things. We are awakening to this aspect of ourselves that knows the grace that rests within that other being, right? Who is that other being? Is that other being you? Is that other being me? Who is that other being? Do we accept that other being as the light of the consciousness, which we already know within our own being? Do we accept that other being as the consciousness of the grace of the truth of our own accepted self within our own being? We are now arriving into that place of divine union with all things. beings. We are now arriving into that place of consciousness, of grace, of truth, of energetic awakening. We are now arriving into that place where we know God's grace within everyone and everything. Are we accepting some sort of divine union with another being that's allowing us to see, that's allowing us to feel, that's allowing us to know a true acceptance of our own being? Are we accepting the grace within our own being as the truth of all things? Are we accepting the grace within our own being as the one that we came here to be? We know that we are God's grace. We know that we are the acceptance of all things. We know that we are consciously giving, receiving, knowing, allowing, and feeling. So what are we feeling? Are we feeling for something outside of us? No, it's all within our own being. But when we allow it to open up within our own being, and we see that it's opening and it's conscious and it's alive and it's being within our own being, we accept the graciousness, the kindness, the love, the energetic opening, the expansion to come through us, to us, from everything around us. And now we're accepting that union within our own being. So what am I talking about? Am I talking about a divine union? Am I talking about a divine consciousness? Am I talking about a divine grace? Am I talking about divine love? What is the love of your being? What is the love of your truth? What is the love of your seeking? What is the love of your understanding? What is the love of your knowing? We know that we want truth within our being, and we know that we are God's grace pulsating through us in every moment that we are alive on this earth plane. We know that God's grace is alive within us. So what are we seeking? What are we feeling? What are we knowing? What are we knowing? I'm alive in this place of truth. I'm alive in this place of love. I am alive in this place of divinity, and my light shines forth from within me as everything I know, everything I do, and everything I see. I'm consciously awakening to that divinity within my own being, and I'm accepting now. I am accepting now the grace from all things around me. I am accepting now the conscious light of all things. I am accepting now that truth that wants to come to me in everything, in every way. I am accepting now the oceans, the waves, the beauty, the grace, the energy coming to me, right? In divine ways, in divine truth, in divine understanding. I am accepting, I am accepting, I am accepting. The divine union of all things is my conscious understanding of grace. The divine union of all things is my conscious understanding of knowing my truth as the divine self of me. So I invite you into me, my divine grace. I invite you into me, my divine energy. I invite you into me, my divine love, my divine energy, my divine absolute understanding. I invite you into me because the grace of all things is the grace of me. I invite you into me because the grace of my energy is the grace that God has given me. I invite you into me because I know you as the truth of all things. I know you as the truth of understanding. I know you as the truth of me. We accept ourselves as divine, we accept ourselves as light, and we accept ourselves as free, and we are now giving, consciously giving the energy of divine grace, divine light, divine truth, divine love to everyone, to everything. We're opening, we're aware, we're awake, we're alive, we're seeing, we're accepting, we're knowing, we're graciously giving. And now I am receiving that grace of God's energy into me. I am receiving that grace of God's consciousness. I am receiving the grace that has been given to me from everyone and everything around me. I am now divinely aspecting myself into that consciousness that is God's grace in every movement, every action, every perceived perception that I see. It's all God's grace, and it's all in me. I am here now receiving the energy of consciousness into my own being as the grace of all things, consciously receiving God's grace into my own energy now. Become the pure essence of yourself. Become the pure essence of the energy of what you are. Become the essence of God's grace within you. Become that as we seek divinity in everyone and everything. For everything we do, we are received with grace and kindness and love. For everything we do, we are received with energetic opening and expansion. For everything we do, we know that God's grace is receiving us. As we are receiving the energy of consciousness within our being, accept it, allow it, become it, feel it, know it. Become the grace of God's energy as you accept divinity into your being now. Gracefully receiving, gracefully becoming, gracefully, energetically knowing, gracefully, energetically becoming all things. Now is my grace, now is my truth, now is my peace. Gracefully, energetically receiving God's grace into me now. Bishto Yamata Kaliyato Ishanaka alhara karano grufuf Ishtakaramata la karato kuruta Shiva karana kalepito Ishanaka lepota te arana kalepiko rata shatakanana kali arana kuru shai kamata Irana kalaharani shai amate ramata Ramata karana la paraji shayanoko arana kalababa shiva karana kuruhu tara karashatana yara baba o tahima la hiro deshetani emalahine ashala karatira danda guru shalama irana gurubani guru shahale mande guru talamia irana lavete kala jai kumata le nagara chishala kara nagare shu anagare nine kumata le baba gamane ara jai kumala gareta turu rara karata eshita to garamata la go baba ni kala go baha no ni rara no de botaite mona yeho ne levo pare jai anare guru da re guru daini are shiva karana kalbada he ba shita shita dani karara kalapata yuta karana kalapata ta ra karana kruhu raete ale futara te ko mama yirasata. I am here, I am now, I am truth, I am peace, I am love, I am you, I am me. We are energy, we are consciousness, we are grace, we are truth, we are the energy of all things, receiving the grace of God's energy, God's truth, God's peace, God's love through everyone we see, everything we do. We are all grace, we are all truth, and we are all love. Divinely accepting God's grace into me now. I accept you, my love. I accept you, my love. I accept you, my love. I'm free. Energetic understanding, truth, peace, and love into my being. I accept you into me. I accept you into me. I accept you fully into the being of myself. Energy of God's grace consciously receiving me. All things are divine within this space of acceptance. Receiving God's grace energetically, receiving God's grace in my own truth, in my own seeking, receiving God's grace in everything, everywhere, divinely accepting, receiving, giving, knowing, truth within all things. Bhayata. Bacha. Ashto Koronayata. Hiranakaya Kotakurshi Himoto. Hiranaya Tokuraniki Takanya Rohotaya Vishitanya Kalyamata Shaka Hiroko